Hello, welcome back to Ever17 Out of Infinity. So now I'm back at this part with the puzzle. So I got it. And then I need to tilt it. I picked tilt a little to the side and I didn't get it. And then I also tilted it a little vertically. Okay, tilted almost completely vertical. The first one I picked was tilted a little vertically, so I'll try almost completely vertical. I got it. Listen, if you take the paper and set it like this. Let's see. The empty false sky, a single cuckoo calls out, brings a chill to me. What is this? Oh, okay, that was Japanese. You grabbed the slip of paper from my hand. Then she copied me and set the paper sideways in the same way. You grabbed my hand and shook it happily. But she didn't stop there. She pulled me close in a big bear hug. My face was pressed hard against her bust. It was a nice fit, a little too nice. I struggled for air. I give up. Give mercy. I almost felt dangerously excited by the softness of her. Finally, you let me go. She jumped around gleefully like a rabbit. I was glad she was happy, even if she did almost crush me. Watching you all happy like that seemed to wash away all my irritation and fatigue. The stress I was feeling simply faded away. It was like the winter frost melting away under the spring sun. Yes, we did it! But why do you suppose it came out in a barcode like this? Think so? It's hard to believe that would make it print like this. Yeah. I wonder how to say this in Japanese. The empty false sky, a single cuckoo calls out, brings a chill to me. Ooh. Okay, that's how to say it. Wow. The recharged you faced the screen triumphantly. But access denied, invalid name or password. But she still couldn't get into the sealable information. Just then. The screen went black. Oh, what just happened? Oh.
せっかく苦労して解読してくれた少年には悪いんだけど、そもそもこの句がそのままパスワードであるという保証はどこにもないんだよね。むしろこの句自体はただのヒントで、お母さんはこの句から連想する何かをパスワードにしていたと考えるのが妥当だと思う。そうじゃなきゃマシンの中にパスワードと銘打って保存しておくのはあまりにも危険すぎるよ。
I wonder why Yuzma would choose this poem. I wonder what was hidden in the 17 syllables of this poem. There was no answer or end to my questions. Okay, this is new. So now we're here. That's the password for this area, huh? But you couldn't get through with that before, right? Access denied, invalid user or name or password. See?
違うのよ。間違ってたのはパスワードじゃなかったんだよ。彼女の名前。
You move the cursor to the name column. It read Yuki Tanaka.
あの人は私の本当のお母さんじゃなかった。つまり田中幸恵なんかじゃなかったの。その名前では登録されてなかったのよ。だからあの人の本当の名前さえ分かれば。
Her name. You never saw a driver's license or any document with your mom's name
ないんだ
on
よ、
it?
一度も。
I see.
生まれてこの方、あの人がお母さんの名前を語ってるなんて想像すらしなかったんだもん。あの人はお母さんなんだって、田中幸恵なんだってずっと思ってたから。本人もそう言ってたんだし、普通我が子に名前を偽ってるなんてそんなこと考えもしないよ。
That's true.
あーダメ。見当もつかない。
You put her arms around her head and bowed it down.
可能性のある名前のパターンなんてあまりに膨大すぎる。
But you could narrow it down to a certain degree, right? Even if she were using a fake name, I'll bet it has something in common with her real one. Like the initials are the same or something.
その可能性は低いと思う。だってあの人はあくまで私のお母さん田中幸恵を語ってたわけであって、架空の女性 A をでっち上げてたわけじゃないの。だとしたなら2人の名前には何の共通性もないって考えるべきだよ。そもそも赤の他人だとしたら名字だって田中である必要すらないんだから。
Yeah, I guess you're right.
それにね、たとえ最初の一文字が同じ「ゆ」だと仮定しても、ゆい、ゆう、ゆうか、ゆうき、ゆうこ、ゆうな、ゆうの、ゆうま、ゆうみ、ゆうり、ゆえ、ゆか、ゆかり、ゆき、ゆきこ、ゆきな、ゆきの、ゆきみ、ゆさこ、ゆたか、ゆずき、ゆほ、ゆま、ゆみ、ゆみか、ゆみこ、ゆみな、ゆめこ、ゆめみ、ゆゆ、ゆり、ゆりや、ゆりか、ゆりこ。とまあ、
Okay.
適当にあげただけでもこれだけあるのよ。可能性は低いけど、私みたいに風変わりな名前だってあるわけだし。
A bizarre name. That reminds me, you still haven't told me your full name. I remember you saying it was really long.
そう。果てしなく長い名前。だからよく間違えられたりするんだよ。
No kidding?
知りたい？
Your full name?
そう。
Of course I do.
本当は恥ずかしいからあまり人には教えたくないんだけど、でも少年だったらいいかな。お願いだから絶対に笑わないでよ。
Sure.
よし、それでは教えて信じよう。私の本名は田中優美生秋かな。優しく美しく清らかな秋香る菜の花。
Yubise Kikana Tanaka.
どうしたの？
That's her name. Wait, so her name
あ
here
まりにも変な名前だから呆れてるんでしょ。
and her name in the Takeshi's are different. In Takeshi's it was Yubise Harukana. In this it's what now? Yubise Kikana? Aki? It's not exactly that. It's the Aki. Yubise Aki Kana. Is that really it?
むっかー、信じてないんだな。本当だぞ。間違いなく本名なんだぞ。
That's not what I meant.
いいからちょっと来なさい。
You took my hand and led me out of the control room. We headed into the LeMU entrance. Listen, I don't think now is the time for this.
うるさい。 いくら気に入らない名前だったとしてもこれは私の名前なんだから。お母さんがつけてくれた名前なんだから信じてもらわなきゃ困るの。
You stood in front of a door at the edge of the room.
ここはオペレーター用の操作ルームなの。このアトラクションの照明の調整とか空調の管理とか内部の監視カメラのモニターとかそういうのを行うための部屋なんだけど、間違ってお客さんが入らないようにこのドアはあらかじめ登録されたスタッフにしか開けられないようになってるの。ドアを開けるときには指紋と正門のチェックにパスしなくてはならない。
So what?
私もスタッフの一人だったわけだからもちろんここに登録されてる。つまり私の正しい名前を言わなければドアは開かない。さっき教えた名前が嘘ならドアは開かない。お分かり？
Yeah, I got it.
百聞は一見にしかずってことで試してみましょう
So,
か。
which one is her real name? Is it this one or the one in Takeshi's path? You put her hand on the panel next to the door. The panel had a lamp that was shining red.
田中優美生秋かな。
Responding to her voice, the lamp turned green, and then the door opened.
ね、これで信じてくれた？
Yeah. With that, I thought I had to believe her. We returned back to the control room. That whole time, Yu's name kept churning through my mind. Yubi Akikana. Akikana. Aki. The truth was a lie. The lie was true. My mind was confused with what might be true and what false. But I thought that if a name had autumn or Aki in it, there might as well be one with spring or heart in it. Gradually I became convinced that this could be right. When we got back to the control room, we decided to review escape routes, but we didn't really think we would come up with anything new. Well, what's that exclamation mean?
まさかこれ外部からの通信よ。
What? Suddenly the monitor displayed an image. Yep. What's that? I don't remember doing that. Daybreak. The date had changed to Sunday, May 7th. Since that time, we hadn't slept at all. I was starting to feel badly again. A headache, dizziness, nausea, and coldness felt like they were seeping from deep in the core of my body. I felt a dull, severe fatigue sweep over me. I was only half conscious. Exhaustion. I had reached my limit. But I tried to keep my energy from being zapped away. Surrounded by darkness and endless fear, we'd fought our way this far, and there was no sign that things were going to get better. Communication lines with the outside were still down, and we'd yet to find a clue leading to possible escape. You remained distant and spacey. So can't skip. This is new. Our optimistic leader had helped us through the days of distress was nowhere to be seen. Someone had to save her. But who? Of course, it was up to me. At this point, I was the only person who could help her. Yet still.
約束?
Yeah, I promise. The memory of that pledge remains stark in my mind. Sora?
はい、なんでしょう。
I'm sorry to ask, but could you leave me alone with you for a second?
わかりました。
When we're done, I'll call you.
はい。
I'm really sorry.
いいえ、お気になさらずとも良いのです。
Thanks. Sora vanished. All traces of her completely disappeared. Sora, who had no dimensional limits, had removed herself from our field of vision. Now then, before continuing, I went to set the coffee machine to make fresh coffee. You're drinking coffee, right? Ignoring her lack of response, I set it to prepare 2 cups. Then I sat down beside her. About your mother, I mean, I don't know what to say, but don't you think it's important to talk things over with her? There may have been some reason why she did what she did. Look, she did say she'd explain everything once you're back on the floating island, so...
分かったようなこと
So...
言わないでよ。もうあの人と話すようなことなんて何一つないの。どうでもいいの。もう何もかもどうでもよくなっちゃった。
Look, we still got to find a way to escape this place somehow. Because I made you a promise.
どうやって？何か脱出する方法があるの？
Well, that's what I want to figure out. Look, we have to survive. You, over these last 7 days, I've learned so much from you. In so many ways I can't even begin to count. But out of everything I've learned from you, the most important thing is how to live. You have to live life to the fullest. That's what you've taught me. So I want to put that lesson into practice. I want to live to the fullest, to the end. It was a heartfelt plea.
ねえ少年、
Yeah?
生きることってなんだろうね。
Well, living means to learn and to know, I think. A child is born in innocence, gains knowledge through the years, only to forget it all when it is old and dies. Over the previous 7 days, my life had been filled with things that I had learned. From amnesia and emptiness, my life began. But looking back over the last 7 days, there was one more thing. I also think that to live also means to lose something. They say nothing ventured, nothing gained, but to gain something, you must lose something. Like me losing the past by losing my memory. Even though I had lost much, I had also gained.
知ること、失っていくこと。ねえ、それってつまり傷ついていくってこと？
Maybe. I don't know.
そう、生きることが傷つくことだというのなら、もう十分すぎるほど傷ついたよ。十分生きたんだよ。だから。
Hey, wait a second. What are you trying to say, you? You're not saying you want to die. You can't be serious. What the heck's that all about? I can't believe you're saying that. It's not like you at all. What happened to the you a little while ago was sorry to get out of here. What happened to that you? Come on, what gives? What came over you all of a sudden? Why do you think you were born anyway?
やめて。くだらないお説教ならもうやめて。
No, it's you who's talking stupid. All this selfish crap, as if your life belongs only to you.
そんなこと考えてない。考えてないけど。でも私を産んでくれたお母さんはもういないんだよ。
But that other lady said she was your real mother.
そんなの嘘に決まってる。
How do you know?
それは今までもずっと騙されてきたから。
Don't you think that's a little pointless right now? I mean, you do understand, don't you? That until you hear her side of the story, you can't go jumping to conclusions. I think you should live the best life you can for all the people around who care about you. For your mother and for Sarah and Takeshi as well. And for me.
少年のため
I said it before, but there's so much that I've learned from you. I'm so very grateful to you. Really. You're a friend, a guardian, a teacher, and I walked back to the coffee machine and poured 2 cups of coffee. You said earlier that you've already lived enough, right? But I don't think it's enough. Because I think there's still stuff you need to learn. That's one thing, yes. By the way, how much sugar do you take? Not listening, I added 2 spoonfuls. I was thinking, don't you think sugar and coffee reminds you of something? You know, something that life depends on. Do you have any ideas? Yeah. See, that's 2 things. Things you don't... That's 2 things you don't know that you should learn. Makes you want to know, doesn't it? Well, if we get out of here alive, I'll tell you what it is. I added milk and sugar and carried the 2 cups over. There you go. You took the cup and silently sipped from it. How does it taste? What are my feelings? Finally getting across to her. She had a clear, gentle smile, like the sun shining just after. I called Sora back into the room. All survivors remaining inside the park were now present. 3 of us began to discuss new strategies. The walls of LeMU would only hold 2 more hours at most. Our last possible escape route had been shut off, filling with floodwater just a few hours earlier. All hope of communicating with the outside was gone. The situation had become so desperate that I could no longer expect you or Sora to find an escape route. You lifted the coffee cup to her lips as you spoke. Her cup now contained only black coffee. She had refilled it herself. Watching her drink, I went to take a sip from my own cup, but found it empty. To pour myself more, I walked back to the coffee machine. The machine was an interesting contraption with a lower chamber containing boiling water heated from an alcohol lamp. The steam from the boiling water was siphoned into the upper chamber through a central pipe. Siphon. I got it! Sora, could you show me that cross-sectional diagram again? What's this perpendicular line coming straight down from the floating islands? This area wasn't dry earlier.
昨日排水を行ったので、浸水が始まった時、自動的に非常階段の水密費が閉鎖されました。ですから、排水が完了したこの非常階段には水が入り込まなかったのです。倉成さん、松永さん、小町さんの3名が助かったのも、水密費が自動閉鎖されたからでしょう。
How far is it from this room to the emergency stairwell?
約80メートルです。
Really? 240 feet, huh? I just want to confirm this, but if you were to climb those emergency stairs, you could escape up to the floating island, right?
はい。
And the safety doors to the emergency stairwell can be opened manually. So, he's talking about this, right? What I'm saying is, to escape by going through the emergency stairwell, maybe. So? Yeah, I know that. I think that's the first time I've ever heard you make a mistake. I wasn't going to say that. There's no way I can swim 240 feet underwater. Whoa. First, let's call that emergency stairwell that connects to the floating island staircase A. Then let's call the sector 4 emergency stairwell here staircase B. And the emergency corridor connecting to staircase A will be corridor C.
それで
The point is, we need to drain the water out of the corridor, right? Once that's done, we could just skip our way to staircase A.
簡単に言っちゃってくれるけどさ、無理だと思うよ。
We can do it.
どうやって？第一、C 通路に溜まった大量の水を排水する場所がないじゃない。
But there is a place. The dry area in Sector 4.
君って本物のバカ？水は高いところから低いところに向かって流れるの。これで3回目だからね、同じこと言うの。
I know, I know.
じゃあどうしてそんなバカなことを？それともバケツでも使って水をかき出すつもり？
Not scooping it out. Just the opposite. We're going to release the floodwater from Sector 8.
一つ単純な質問してもいいですか？
Sure.
そんなことしたらこの警備室の周囲は全て海水に飲み込まれることになっちゃうと思うんですけど。
That's right.
ついにそんなところまで行っちゃったか。いいのよ、いいのよ少年。もう何も心配することはないの。大丈夫だから私が守ってあげるから。よしよし、いい子いい子。
You started patting my head. I snapped with anger. Alright then, I'll prove it to you. I dashed out and ran to the warehouse. I found a bucket in a clear plastic hose and drilled a hole in the bucket. Sticking the hose into the hole, I used duct tape to wrap and seal it. I then hunted up two more buckets. What? With the goods in hand, I returned to the security office.
何これ？
Oh, it's something I threw together to test my idea.
よくわかんないよ。これとそれがどう関係してくるわけ？
Listen, first, this bucket up here, the one with the hose stuck in it, it represents Sector 8, where we are, okay? Next, the hose part is filled with water, represents Corridor C, leading to Staircase A. Finally, the bucket set down below represents the 4th block on the 3rd floor, and the empty hose part hanging down to it is Staircase B. Just to let you know, the bent hose part represents the connecting the corridor, joining up Corridor C with Staircase B, okay? Come on, alright, I can understand this big brain. Before I show you, I want to make sure of one thing. If we drain the water filling the hose here, then we can move safely to the emergency stairs, right? Alright, let the draining begin. Remember what I said earlier?
確か私たちのいる第8区画の浸水エリアを開放すると。
So let's release it. Next, I began to pour water into the top bucket from the second bucket, which I had filled with water from the corridor. In no time at all, the top bucket was full. Next, the water from the top bucket flowed down the hose, pushing the air out of the hose and flowing into the lower bucket. Before long, all the water was drained, except for a negligible amount left in the hose. All the water from the top bucket drained completely to the lower bucket. And that's how it works. This is how a siphon works. Ah. Okay, let's prove this one more time by looking at the map. So fill this area with water to push that water out of there, and then it goes into there. What? The walls of Staircase A, Staircase B, Corridor C, and the area in Sector 4 are all intact without cracks or damage. So we can assume that all these areas are protected from outside seawater. Isn't that right, Sora? What will happen if we simultaneously open all the watertight doors in this submerged area in Sector 8 so let's stop this room without any cracks or damage? And then, what next? And then what will happen?
C 通路に溜まってた水も第8区画に溢れ出した水も全部第4区画に移動するみたいなことになるのかな。
Yep, that's the plan.
でもそんなにうまくいくと思う？
It's a heck of a lot better than nothing. I'm pretty sure it'll work. And then... Are you ready to go? Oh, I want to see this. According to the color-coded map on the monitor, Zoidstock Sector 8 and Corridor C had changed to green. The color green meant it was a dry area, meaning the drainage had worked perfectly.
圧壊推定時刻まであとわずかです。急いでください。
Yeah, we know.
では、どうかご無事で。
Huh? What about you, Sora? You're not coming?
少年、空はね、レミューから離れることができないの。
What?
お忘れになりましたか？私は RSD、ホログラムなのですよ。私は皆さんと一緒には行けません。ですから、私はここでお見送りしようと思います。
Sora.
出会いがあれば別れがあるものです。仮に私が浮島までついていったとしても、やっぱりそこで少年さんとはお別れしなければなりません。私の場合、他の皆さんとは違ってそのタイミングが少しだけ早く訪れただけなのです。
But...
少年さんが誰かお友達の家に遊びに行った場合を考えてみてください。帰る時になってそのお友達は見送りこそするでしょうが、一緒に少年さんの家までついてくるようなことはしませんよね。ここはレミューは私の家なのです。
We'll meet again, won't we?
ええ、私はここにいると同時にあそこにもいる。ここにいる私が消えたとしても、あそこにいる私は存在し続けるのです。
Don't talk about disappearing.
これはただの例え話です。私は必ず少年さんや田中さんと再会することになるでしょう。それも近いうちに。
Do you promise?
ええ、
It's a promise then?
はい、約束です。
Looking over Sora's shoulder at the monitor, I could see the number of light readings changing. Just wait there. You and I opened the security room doors and exited into the corridor. Giving a wave to the smiling Sora, she saw us off. We climbed the stairs to an emergency corridor. We then walked down Corridor C, which was no longer flooded. Hey, I was just thinking, but...
何のこと？
Surely Sora isn't planning to take responsibility for the accident by
だ
dying
からね、
here.
空は死んだりなんてしないの。空は私たちとは違うかよ。
No way, Sora's not.
ああ、そうじゃなくって、まあとにかく君が心配するようなことにはならないと思う。
How can you be so sure? Maybe that's the way Livewood programmed her?
ああ、やれやれ。これはね、マヨから聞いたんだけど、この間のクラッキングの時、マヨはもう一箇所だけプログラムを書き換えたんだって。ソランが最も優先しなければならない項目として、マヨはあるものを書き加えたの。
What was that?
他の何よりも自分自身を、ソラ自身を大切にすること。
At last, we arrived at the door leading to the emergency
じゃあ
stairs.
開けるよ。
Okay. You put her hand on the door's handle.
ほら、回すの手伝ってよ。
Oh, right. Together, we gripped the handle. It was then that it happened. sudden metallic sound resounded behind us. I turned around quickly. At the end of the corridor stood the girl. Our eyes met. And then a name flashed in my mind, as clear as a bell. Coco!
Coco って誰なの?
Turning on her heels, Coco ran off in the other direction. I turned to chase after her. But you grabbed my arm, holding me back. Come on, let go! There's still someone here. We can't just leave her here.
幻覚を見てるだけなのよ。しっかりして。
The walls began to creak and groan. Here and there, water began to leak in. Coco! Tearing myself away from Yu's grasp, I ran after the girl. Yu came dashing after me. Through the voice alternators came Sora's warning voice.
核壁強度がすでに限界を超えています。早く戻ってください。
No way!
あとどれくらい持つの?
10分から15分。ですが、今すぐに悪化してもおかしくない状況です。
For one instant, I saw the back of the girl. She continued to run down the corridor. With all my strength, I burst after her. The main building lights flickered and went out, but were replaced by dim lights. Dim emergency lights. With the help of the pale lights, I kept up the chase. I bounded down the emergency staircase and burst out onto a normal corridor. I ran and ran with all my power. I ran to the end of the narrow corridor in front of a small door. It was there that I caught up to her. She stood with her back to the door. I had caught her. Come on, we're going together. The girl shook her head. Inching forward, I pressed close to her. But to my surprise... Huh? After a moment, the girl... Oh, what the... What the... The girl is being absorbed into the... What? Is that translated right? Out of breath, you closed in on me.
やっと追いついた。で、その少女とやるわ。
I stood there as if in a trance. Coming back to myself, I tried to open the door to Himmel, but the door wouldn't budge. Sora, open this door!
無理です。その扉は私の管轄外なのです。
I pounded on the door. Coco! From the surface of the walls, water began to gush in.
あと5分です。それ以上はもう持ちません。緊急警報が発令されました。ご来場のお客様および館内の職員は速やかに退去してください。悪界まであと5分です。
The announcement repeated itself in German, French, and Japanese. Darn it! Open up! Open this door! I struck with my fists. Open up!
ねえ、お願いだからしっかりしてよ。しっかりして少年。
I pounded fiercely against the door again with my clenched fists, but no matter how hard I tried, it was in vain. Is he just my imagination? If I keep this up, what's going to happen to you? I thought that you would die if I don't do something.
少年。
I'm so sorry, you. I strained to speak, squeezing out my words. Okay, let's go. I reached out my hand to you.
よかった。
You gave my hand a squeeze back. One last time, I looked back at the door, and then turned and ran with all my might. We sprinted as hard as our legs would carry us. Splashing through the water as it gushed like a waterfall, I ran with everything I had, Yu's hand gripping tightly in mine.
悪界まであと3分です。
Bounding up the emergency stairs, we reached Sweatstock. rearing hard down the emergency corridor.
悪界まであと2分です。
We applied our strength together and pushed open the emergency stairwell door. Closing the door tightly, we then headed up the long set of stairs.
悪界まであと1分です。
In the distance, the sign read Ersteboden, first floor, just 50 more feet.
30秒、20秒、10、9、8、7。
We ran toward the final door. The door would not open.
6、5、4、3、2、1。
The darkness was pierced by a ferocious sound, like the roar of a dragon, or possibly the last agonizing cry before death. On the floating island, the morning sun stained the sky, land, and ocean. It was the first time we had laid eyes on the blue sky and bright sunlight in 7 days. In the distance, Sarah and Takeshi played together. It appeared as if they were pretending to sword fight with a couple of sticks. Apparently, Takeshi had been routed by Sarah's sword. I gazed dreamily at the two as they played. Sugumi was nowhere to be seen. After the escape, she had disappeared. And as for you, she sat beside me, gazing at the morning sun, her eyes misted with tears. It was her first time to see the sun in 7 days. Long shadows from her figure and mine cast a link behind us. Yes, we had successfully escaped from that water-entrenched labyrinth. I kept my promise, don't you think? I turned and asked you.
一つ目はね。
You kept your gaze on the rising sun as she answered. The first one. To protect her. And the second.
コーヒーに入れる砂糖に似てるな。
That.
生きるために必要なものに似てるって？ 約束通り教えてよ。
Okay, in that case, let me ask you. What are some things on which life depends?
水、空気、食料、家に、往復に、お金。
Okay, what else?
知識。
Well, I guess there's that too. Humans can't live forever in innocence, though. To live comfortably, humans also need certain impurities, things that are granted by knowledge. I guess you could compare those things with the milk you put in coffee, but there's one more thing. Like the sugar in coffee, we need one more thing.
それは何？
How does sugar taste?
甘い。
It's a wonderful taste, right? So humans can never live entirely alone.
うん？
You still don't get it? People can only know sweetness when they join together. Love. You then squeezed my right hand, and I pulled her close to me. You buried her face in my chest. From Yu's long hair, I could smell her fragrance, the fragrance of sunlight.
とっても甘いね。
Oh, that's cute. The sun, my sun, which was clear and fresh, flowing with brilliance, tinged with sweetness, the smell of spring enveloped us completely. Oh, yay. Oh, hold on, that part at the end there with Coco was really interesting. Oh. Yay. This is nice. Oh, cool. Opening the third eye, the last chapter, finding Coco. Great. That girl is so mysterious. I guess she's the only one I don't know now. All these routes are pretty interesting. I just have one more now, right? Okay, bye.